In Like a Lion and Out Like a Lamb is pretty much my jam, and every challenge ends up that way, this one being no exception at all. We've pretty much had a lot of build-up for these last few hats that we need, and man, like, these dominoes just fell exactly how you would have expected them to. We only need the fedora and the blobfish for non-RNG hats, and then we need the living hat, garbage hat, mushroom, and tiger hat for the RNG hats. Also the cone hat in the winter festival, but that's also really easy. And so most of our time has been spent prepping for this. We've been doing kind of little, random money-making tasks as we go, but lately everything's kind of been in service of getting the more, the more rare hats. We've been setting up for the mushroom tree forest to quickly be able to bomb those and hope for the mushroom hat. We've been letting our fiber grow over on Ginger Island to bomb that and hope for the living hat. And then our slime hutch is nearly full, or at least full enough for me to begin the resets on that. So I was anticipating probably 10 hours or so of RNG resetting to try and get these hats, but it somehow just didn't really turn out that way. Everything went about as smoothly as it could, technically with one exception being the garbage hat, which I ended up deciding to just do the dynamic seating manipulation to make it so I didn't have to sleep for 8 years. I didn't want to sleep 8 years for my only chance at a garbage hat, so I just grabbed a seed that had a garbage hat in the wintertime, switched over to that, and made it happen. So you'll see that later on. And here's my slime hutch basically, in full action. I'm just clearing out some of this junk, and I am going to go pick up a slime charmer ring a little bit later on to make it so I'm less likely to die, or right now in fact. They just do a lot of damage, and I want to build a little enclosure so it's easy for me to just go into the slime hutch, kill all the slimes. If they don't drop the tiger hat, I'll reset and, rinse and repeat. So that's what we're going to do today, or for these next couple of days, and just get one of these checked off. The earliest I can technically complete this is winter 15, because that's when I need to buy the cone hat from the night market. So I have a month basically, and obviously this is the final episode, so you'll see all of that hopefully come to fruition. And this took forever to do. Trying to wrangle all these slimes into the corner and then build a wall where they weren't standing. I'm sure there was better ways to do this. One of which being build the wall before there's a ton of slimes. But I didn't do that, so I won't show you everything here. I struggled with this for, till midnight or 1 in the morning or something. It took a huge chunk of time, 11:30. That's not too terrible, but I have a little gate. I can open the gate, hit them with a hammer, explode hopefully all of them, or at least most of them, and then reset. So that's what I'm going to do. The way the drop rates work in this, you can just reset over and over and over again, and eventually it will drop. It's not set based on seed like some of the other stuff is. And so that's what I proceeded to do. Just run in here, use the hammer, and just decimate the slimes. Check my inventory, make sure there's nothing hat-like in there, and then exit, reload, and do it again. It's a process, but it's easy to do, and it's just a lot of this over and over again. I wasn't really sure how many times I'd have to do it. I know the tiger slime hat is a relatively high drop rate, so it's not too bad. And it only ended up taking me 30 tries, which is kind of nice, because now I can move my slime hutch out of the way, and I can move on to my other RNG hats. But before we do that, we're going to take a little quick break and go to the fair and a couple other stops along the way. We're still spending like key gems on sprinkler upgrades and mushroom seeds. All those little things we still technically need. And then yeah, put all my rings away. One other thing I'm going to do before I start doing the fiber hat farm or the living hat is I'm going to get some more magnet rings so I can enchant those rings and make it so that I don't have to run as close to pick up all the fiber that I explode. And so today is festival day, but we also had the Danger in the Deep, or whatever this is called, and the Caverns Invasion. So I just took stairs all the way down to 100 and then hit the fair to try and kind of knock them both out in one day. And then we did the little Grange display and then gambled so we could buy the Fedora as well as the Rare Crow in the event that I end up collecting 999 scarecrows. I wanted to at least have, as many as I could for the time being. And that's it for that hat. Another one checked off. We are also going to reset our farming back to artisan so we can actually sell some of that wine. We've been amassing wine essentially all through summer and up till now. So we have tons of wine and we have no money. So I figured now is a good time to basically grab all that stuff and sell it and try to make a little bit of cash. I'll probably do it on the next time that we have a wine harvest day. And then we're also still slowly upgrading our tools. We still need a couple iridium ones. I never actually finished upgrading any of the tools, but I don't know, I got pretty close. The trash can I always kind of neglect until the very, very end. And then we're just doing a couple more mushroom trees. I was going to do the whole thing, but I didn't really feel like it. I kind of wanted to just get it knocked out. We're running out of time. I didn't want to burn my gems. And so, yeah, that's where we're at. I also made sure to make this little path, so I have like a little path I can run around. It's not the most efficient path, but it works. And we also traded out all the jade for rubies because we're running kind of low on spicy eel. And so I want to be able to get like basically a full stack of spicy eel. And yeah, here's our last big wine day, at least before our big selling day. And then we'll see. I think I'll end up with like 10 million or something close to that. A pretty decent amount of money. It's not the greatest amount just because with the additional challenges we're not as efficient with making money. But I knew that would be the case. But as you can see, we have a ton of bottles of wine, as well as a little bit of jelly. And I wanted to double check because before I sell all this, I really wanted to make sure I picked the right profession, because it'd be kind of obnoxious to lose, 40% value. I've also begun planting quite a few fiber seeds. For no particular reason, I just kind of wanted to make sure I have a lot of fiber in the event that I wanted to do anything with it. And I'm also going to start planting a maple tree grove, just so I have maple syrup in the event that I need to do something else with it. There's just some resources that they're hard to come by really quickly, and maple syrup is definitely one of those. So at some point I'll come back here and I'll fertilize all these seeds. This will be nice if I ever need to make a ton of bee houses or something. But yeah, we made 8 million, so it's not too bad. I was hoping for a little bit more, but now we at least have money to buy basically anything we want. We can buy wood, we can buy stone, we can buy whatever. It doesn't really matter. And yeah, we'll be sitting pretty good. And here's where I'm making my magnet rings, or combining my magnet rings. And I'm going to start harvesting the living hat, or the fiber for the living hat, tomorrow. And I was going to include every single attempt at this But as I was watching it, I had to speed it up so much that it was essentially unwatchable. But I will include it, at least a little chunk of it in there. We're going to go sleep on the island. It is going to rain tomorrow, which apparently has some sort of impact on RNG, so that will help us out. It basically just randomizes the RNG just a little bit more. So I made 12 bombs, that's all I should need. And we're going to head back to Ginger Island. I'll go to sleep and I'll wake up and begin our reset process. This is the process I was most concerned about taking the longest. I was fully expecting this to take 3 or 4 hours, something insane. And just because it's kind of a tedious process where we just run around this little path, let these bombs go off, and hopefully the living hat is among the rubble. But yeah, it's a little bit loud too, which I also don't really appreciate. I turned it down as much as I could, but it just doesn't like to be quiet. So we just do this over and over again. We exit to the save menu as usual. We reload it. I must have sold something else. Oh, a digit must have got bumped off. That's what it is. So I sold 18 million wine, and one of the digits is got pushed off. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, some days I'll use a spicy eel, some days I'll use the crab cake, some days I'll use coffee, some days I won't. It just kind of depend on what I was feeling. But it's just this over and over again for quite a few times. And this is what it looked like really sped up, of just doing the same thing over and over and over again. But as you can see, it's a little bit jarring. It's a lot of really aggressive back and forth. I put it in black and white because the flashing colors weren't as intense this way. But yeah, basically 63 circuits later, and we ended up with a successful bombing, which is really nice. This was the hat that is probably the rarest in the game. It's 1 in 1,000 or something even lower than that. I don't remember the exact odds, but as far as I can tell, this is the most efficient way to farm it. And I've already got it right there. I don't even need to bomb the rest of this. But we're done. That's it. It's my favorite hat for my horse to have. I don't personally ever like wearing it because it's kind of stupid looking. But just because it's rare, I like to put it on the horse. And yeah, we end up in a good spot. We're still well on track. We only now need the mushroom hat. And yeah, see, it looks silly. It's too big for what my dude's wearing. So I neglected. I don't know why I said neglected. I opted not to wear it and put it on my horse instead. And so our next plan of action is to go to our normal farm. We'll save because that's very important. And then starting tomorrow, we'll start farming for the mushroom hat, which is a similar process. I am going to just bomb the trees until they fall over, and then hopefully the hat drops. And this one I guess this is probably the luckiest drop we've had so far, because instead of doing more than one reset, I just got it right away. I didn't even need to bomb all the trees, and there it was. So that's it. That was the last RNG hat. The only remaining hat, which is kind of RNG, is the garbage hat. But since I'm using dynamic seeding, I just know it's going to be in a trash can on winter 11th. So until then, I'm just going to do normal farm stuff. I'm going to harvest all my pumpkins, and I'm going to harvest some of the fiber in wintertime. I'm going to get my Ginger Island farm set back up for ancient fruit so I can start making some good money over there again. And yeah, I mean, this is the most relaxed way this run could have possibly ended. All of the preparation work paid off, I guess, and I was able to farm out the RNG in one session. So it was only like 3 hours. And I played through pretty much this entire time, which is probably the quickest I've ever been able to do like a challenge. Most of the time when I do a challenge, it takes like 40 hours of gameplay. I mean, this one took more than that, but the harder parts took considerably less than I thought, so yeah, I don't know. I'm a little low energy today. I guess I should have said that way earlier. You've probably already noticed, so there's that. But yeah, we got nothing to do. It's the 6th. Harvesting this fiber just to have... I wish you could get the living hat from the fiber seeds. It would make this grind significantly easier. But it just wasn't... It's just not possible, so that's why I didn't opt to do that. But I am opting to grow a lot more fiber just for fun. And then starting next year, I guess we'll pick up in spring of next year. I don't know what I'm going to do next because I'm going to start new challenges soon. Here's where the dynamic seeding came in. And there's my garbage hat. So I guess I just need to catch that blobfish. And the poll results are in also with the unconventional million and the fishing challenge essentially tied, only separated by a couple votes. I think technically the unconventional million won, but instead of that, I'm going to do the fishing challenge first, and then the unconventional million. The fishing one I think will actually be deceptively easy, and I'll explain that more when I'm actually doing it. But for now, yeah, we're just picking up that cone hat, and we're going to jump on the submarine to start trying to fish for the blob hat, or blobfish. And surprisingly enough, the blobfish was like one of the more challenging parts of this run. I spent some of the most time in this game, or in this challenge rather, trying to get that fish. I'm also buying decorations because I'm going to decorate next time, so whatever. But yeah, I spent a lot of magic bait. I spent a lot of like actual hours trying to fish for that thing, and I just never got it. And so we're going to do the more tried and true way of actually taking the submarine down to catch it here. I don't know why I went back to... Oh, I forgot my fishing rod. That's what it was. I had to go back to grab a fishing rod and regular bait to hopefully catch this stupid fish. I didn't think this would be the last thing to hold us back. I thought the fiber hat was going to test my patience, test my patience a lot, and I would end up putting it off for a really long time. But no, it was just the blobfish. And even today, like with a more nearly guaranteed place to catch it, it still took me ages to get it. I think the most frustrating part about it was these first 4 casts were all seaweed, which is something I didn't even... I mean, I knew it can happen, but it doesn't happen that often. But yeah, I've never had to deal with such bad luck with fishing in my life. And yeah, it took me until, nearly midnight. So what was that, 5 hours of fishing or something? Just to finally hook the thing where I like nearly don't even catch it. So the blobfish was surprisingly the most difficult. Obviously, the slime hutch was a whole ordeal. Letting the fiber take over the farm was a whole ordeal. And those are much more difficult overall, but this one felt the worst out of all of them. And this will probably be, I guess, the last time I use my sewing machine for a really long time also. Yeah, I don't plan on making clothing for a long time. But I will have to flash, oh man. I guess I will have to fish for that blobfish again very, very soon. But that'll be, I think that fishing video is going to be like 1 video, maybe 2. Because I'm just going to like fish and sleep and wine. Fish, sleep, and make wine. Mostly off camera. I don't know, I'll try to make it interesting. I don't know how I'm going to make that interesting because watching fishing Well, some people like watching it. Maybe I'll just show one of every fish. That's probably the way to do it. And just talk about my trip or porch cats or whatever else is going on. Because there's all my hats. I'm pretty sure it's all of them. I hope I didn't accidentally miss one. With the exception of the one I'm wearing and the one that my horse is wearing. Everything's just sitting in that jar. Or that jar? No, drawer. It's a drawer. So, anyway, that's it for now. I'll be back again next week with some decoration. Maybe just one video. I don't know yet. But I'll see you next time.